countryside of South Korea, where fog often clings to the mountains and silence blankets the valleys. There lay a lake that villagers never dared to approach after dusk. It was called 𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗡 Lake, a body of still, black waters said to be bottomless. For generations, the villagers whispered that the lake was cursed, that something ancient lived beneath its surface. Fishermen who had once tried to fish there vanished without a trace, and children who wandered too close were found lifeless, their lungs filled not with water, but with blood. Yet despite the warnings, the lake held a strange pull. Its waters were so calm that it looked like a mirror to the heavens, reflecting the moon and stars in eerie perfection. Some believed it wasn't just water, but a 𝗗𝗜𝗏 opening to another world. One autumn evening, a university researcher named 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 arrived at the village. He was drawn not by superstition, but by curiosity. 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 specialized in Korean folklore and was writing his thesis on ancient water spirits. When he heard of 𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗡 Lake, he knew he had to see it for himself. Armed with books, a recorder, and his notebook, he rented a small room in the village. From the very first night, 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 noticed something strange. As he sat by his window writing, he heard faint whispers carried on the cold night breeze. At first, he dismissed them as the wind moving through the trees, but then he realized those whispers were forming words. Soft, broken syllables in an old Korean dialect he barely understood, and they were calling his name. The villagers avoided him after learning his interest in the lake. The elderly especially warned him never to go near it after dark. One old woman, her back hunched and her eyes clouded with cataracts, told him, "The lake does not give back what it takes. If you listen to its whispers, you will follow them and you will not return." But 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𗘥 curiosity was stronger than fear. On the third night, under a pale crescent moon, he walked to the lake. The path was narrow, overgrown with reeds, and the air grew colder the closer he came. When he reached the edge, the stillness of the water struck him. There were no ripples, no insects, no movement, just a black, glassy surface stretching endlessly. He crouched, dipped his hand in and immediately felt a chill race through his arm, as though the water were not liquid but alive. He pulled back quickly, but not before he heard it clear this time, a woman's voice, soft, melodic, echoing beneath the water. "Come closer, 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗥." His heart pounded. He knew no one should know his name here. Shaking, he stumbled back to his room, but all night he could not sleep. The whispers filled his ears, even when he pressed pillows against them. The next day, he researched old texts and found fragments of an old legend. Centuries ago, a young woman named 𝗗𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗡 had been drowned in 𝗟𝗔𝗦𝗡 Lake during a ritual sacrifice. The villagers, desperate to end a plague, believed offering her soul to the water spirit would save them. The plague ended, but her restless spirit was said to remain in the lake, forever calling others to join her. The more 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗥 read, the more obsessed he became. He believed this was proof of ancient shamanic practices, and if he could document it, his work would be revolutionary. That night, he returned. The moon was full, casting a silver glow over the black waters. 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗥 set up his recorder and began speaking, his voice trembling. "I am 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗍, researcher of folklore. If there is a presence here, show yourself." The reeds swayed though there was no wind. The water rippled though nothing touched it. Then, slowly, a figure emerged from the lake. It was a woman, her hair long and dark, dripping as though she had just risen from the depths. Her face was pale, almost beautiful until she opened her eyes. They were black voids, endless and hungry. 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗥 froze. His breath caught in his throat. The woman spoke, her voice both gentle and suffocating. "I have been waiting. You heard me. You answered my call." He stumbled back, whispering, "This can't be real." The woman smiled faintly, tilting her head. "I am lonely. Come into the water. Stay with me." 𝗗𝗏𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𗥥 felt his body moving forward against his will, as if invisible hands were pulling him. He dug his heels into the earth, clutching the grass, but the pull grew stronger. The reeds lashed around him, wrapping like fingers around his arms. He screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the night at the last moment. He tore free and ran, his recorder and notebook left behind. He did not stop until he was back in his room, heart hammering, body shaking. He vowed never to return, but the whispers did not leave him. Every night they grew louder, more insistent. His reflection in the mirror began to warp, water dripping down the glass, though the air was dry. He dreamed of drowning, of pale hands gripping his ankles and dragging him down into blackness. His health declined. Dark circles formed under his eyes, and he could barely eat. Desperate, he sought out a shaman in a nearby town. The shaman, upon hearing 𝗟𝗔𝗒𝗠𝗘𝗥 Lake, refused to help, saying, "That lake is not just haunted, it is cursed. If she has marked you, your soul is already half hers." 𝗗𝗓𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥. The shaman finally gave him talismans and warned, "Do not go near the lake again. Burn these every night, and whatever you do, do not answer if she speaks your name." For days, 𝗗𝗓𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥. He locked himself in his room, burning the talismans, covering his ears when the whispers came. But on the 7th night, the whispers changed. They were no longer distant. They were inside his head. 𝗗𝗓𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥. "You promised to study me. Don't abandon me. I am waiting." And then, in the silence of his room, he heard water dripping. He turned dawned, saw the floor beneath him shimmering, rippling as though it were liquid. From it, pale hands began to rise. He screamed, stumbling back, but the hands grabbed his ankles. His body was pulled toward the floor, as though it were the surface of the lake itself. He clawed at the furniture, his nails breaking, his skin tearing. His last scream echoed through the village, but by the time neighbors broke in, the room was empty. Only wet footprints remained, leading to the window. The next morning, the villagers found his recorder by the lake. On it was a final, chilling message, his voice trembling, whispering, "She's here. She's inside me. I can't fight her anymore." And then a woman's voice, soft and clear, "You are mine now." The recorder ended with the sound of rushing water. From that day, villagers swore they saw a second figure beneath the lake's surface whenever the moon was full. A man's face, pale and wide-eyed, staring up from the depths beside the drowned woman, forever whispering, forever waiting for the next soul foolish enough to listen.